Can't find it.
Hi everybody, Matt Geary for Geek Pride for another live Geek Pride cast on this Tuesday evening. No intro music because Matt can't find it. So tonight, we are joined by two of my esteemed colleagues, John Joe Cosgrove.
Hello, good evening, world.
And Dave Foy.
How's it going?
What up, gentlemen? How are the proverbial tricks?
Tricks
Good.
are okay.
Yeah. Before we
good.
start, does somebody want to do the honors and make sure that I'm not stupidly loud like I was?
I have just had a quick check. We are good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
We're all good.
Should
Okay.
we be recording, by the way, Matt? You haven't said.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We
Forgot to
probably
say,
should.
Matthew.
So we're gonna do that bit again for everybody. So we're gonna start. Actually, no. I'm just gonna cut you in. 3, 2, 1. So that also
And just do it from there.
and then
Yeah.
just go from there. So 3,
Perfect.
2, 1, records. Yeah, we're looking through the mirror right here, guys. Looking through the looking glass. Woo! All right. It's been so long. I literally forgot how to do this because we haven't done it for ages and stuff. And because it's not like live in person, we're like stormtroopers and stuff flying around. Did you see the last one we did at MCM?
Yes, I did indeed. Did indeed.
That was kind of amazing. I have to say, I was quite impressed by all the people who started just basically turned up. We literally got pushed out of our spot by a bunch of stormtroopers, and then by a bunch of Spider-Men. Then some zombies came up and freaked me out. Yeah, it was very good. It was very good.
Can I just ask, Matt? Were you sneaky, Matthew? And did you snag that spot without asking MCM?
Maybe
That little spot in front of the MCM logo?
Maybe Sean was all like, Matt, maybe we should just sort of like move to the side and let people be. And I was like, no, we're here. We'll just pretend we're here for an hour.
Good spot. Good spot.
Every time the staff are going around, they're packing up and just moving over. It's like, are they gone? They're gone. Let's go back.
We actually did exactly the same thing whenever we did our first con here in Northern Ireland. Myself and your good brother Matthew.
Yes.
We just found this spot which was just like a blank MCM. It was like, it was like the back of a MCM board for the gaming section.
Oh, okay.
And it was just this blank board with the MCM logo, and we thought, well, fuck it. And we just parked ourselves there and kind of, guerrilla style took that wee section for our own, and it worked out pretty well, and
it was good,
no
though.
one battered an eyelid, so yeah.
Yeah, but that's like nobody complained or anything. You were just sort of, it was just a part of the show. Even like one of the PR lasses, a girl called Anna, I think, from MCM, came up and she's all like, I was told about some people with a big camera and a camera crew, and I was like, well, not really a camera crew, just got a big camera. And she was just like, oh, can I help you with anything? Do you need anything? And she was being really nice, so that was really good. So yeah, good times. It was good just because random things were happening, and there's nothing better than just random shit happening in podcasts.
Yeah. In general. And how was MCM Manchester as a whole then?
Yeah, it was good. I like MCM in Manchester just because it's not stupidly busy, but also it's not sort of small either. It's a good sort of mix.
Yeah.
The only issue I have is that I think it's starting to outgrow the GMEX, the Manchester Central, what was GMEX in Manchester. They could have a lot more in there, and I feel like they maybe should go for something bigger. Maybe go for Event City or something like that. I know the reason they do it in the GMEX is because it's right in the centre of Manchester, and it's easy for everybody to get to. And obviously, Event City's out near Trafford Centre. But they have Play Expo and stuff out there, and lots of expos out there, and they're always quite busy. So I think maybe maybe not next year, but maybe the year after they should maybe expand it, or maybe kind of go right. We're going to do this and see if they can rival London.
It's straddling that fine line between accessibility and ease for everyone, but you're limited obviously by size, or do you take yourself out of the main sort of city centre and have a larger space? Because the same things actually happened obviously in Northern Ireland. The MCM, which was MCM Belfast, would have been previously in the King's Hall, which is quite city centre based, but it was a small, old, very old convention centre. Whereas now they've moved it out towards Lisburn. It's the centre it's now in. The Icon Centre is fantastic. Really great facilities. Great space. The layout of the whole of the con is fantastic. The problem with it is it's in the arsehole of nowhere, and getting to it, it's there's trains and fair play to the organisers. They put on a free bus.
Is that the one that was formerly the maze?
Yeah, exactly. It used to be a prison. Formerly a prison. Originally, it was meant to be a new national stadium for all sports in Northern Ireland. It's going to be football, Gaelic games, and rugby, but that sort of didn't work out due to the usual political nonsense over here. So they've built this really fantastic big convention centre, but it is quite funny going there and seeing the remnants of the old prison there. Right. It's kind of cosplayers being stuck in a prison of type. But yeah, that's good. That's good.
Brilliant. What was I going to say? Completely forgotten now the thing in my head that I was about to say.
I would say that MCM Manchester looked great, but London Film and Comic Con was fucking fantastic. It really was.
Did you enjoy it? Now I wasn't there, so I don't know. We had sort of some differing views. Now when it comes to press, now people who went, obviously you went with your missus for the cosplay competition. How did she do, by the way?
Oh, she did well. She didn't win, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, she won the region, so she won the Northern Ireland competition. So obviously that then got you automatic entry into the London, which was the whole UK. The level of competition was mental, absolutely mental. But I will say that my lovely missus held herself incredibly well and got a shitload of compliments from people that were there and from the organisers. And that was her first cosplay, so she did extremely well out of it. The girl who won, I'll say my lovely missus was Astrid Hofferson from How to Train Your Dragon. I'll put photos up, connecting to when I finally put all the photos up from the recent cons I've been at. But the people who were there was a fantastic cosplayer who was Link, a female Link, and she had about 1 million props, which was hilarious. And there was a wildling.
Vases and things like that. Vases.
Yeah, well, she had a if anyone obviously plays any of the Legends of Zelda games, she had a full chest full of different props that she had built herself. She had like a little fairy which was like attached to her shoulder, which mechanically worked and everything. It was fantastic. There was a guy who was like a wildling from Game of Thrones, who incredible costume, and always forget his name, the Johann Strauss from where's Johann Strauss? I can't remember the name, from Hellboy 2.
All right, okay, yeah.
There was a ton of fantastic cosplays there. So yeah, she held her own, did really well. But yeah, I mean, the con itself, for someone who hasn't really been to any of the mainstream sort of bigger cons in the mainland, it was an experience. I can understand why certain people would, probably get a bit frustrated. There was a ton of people there.
There always is.
And I would say I had some funny experiences with the guests.
In what way?
Well, I mean, obviously, I went there. I was purely a punter, so I mean, I wasn't going there with any press passes, so I couldn't kind of blag my way into speaking to any of the guests, unfortunately. But I went there specifically, me being a.
Sorry about that. I'm just sorry about that. I was just sort of messing around. For some reason,
okay.
the chat isn't working.
I thought we had poltergeist going on.
No, sorry, my apologies. All sorted now. Big hello to Laura Antil. Hello. Sorry, Dave, carry on. You were saying.
Yes. Oh no, I was going there purely as a punter, and the people that I wanted to meet, me being a big wrestling fan, it was some of the old school wrestlers that I loved when I was a kid, like William Regal and Edge and Christian and those sort of guys. But the level of stars that were there was incredible. There was a really big wide range of people from from so many different shows. The problem being the prices were fucking ridiculous.
I'll just want to say about the prices. Yeah, because I mean, some of the people I saw, I think some of the prices were kind of fair, but one I think was probably a little bit too much was Stephen Young, who played Glenn in The Walking Dead. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a fantastic actor, and I think he's was awesome in that show. He actually made that show just a must see every week. But his autograph price was £60, and this is for a guy who I don't think has done too much apart from a Netflix that came out earlier in the year called Okaja. Apart from that, I've not seen him really anything else. But £60 for this guy's autograph, I thought that was a little bit of a rip.
Was the girl? Again, geez, I've lost all interest
Emily
in
Kinney?
Walking Dead. Was it yeah? Was she not about 60 as well?
No, her one was 25.
Really?
Yeah, her one was 25.
Jesus.
The sad thing is, I remember most of the prices when I was walking around. Varys from Game of Thrones, Conley Phil, his one was £65 for his autograph.
Well, start at the top, dude. Benedict Cumberbatch was 85.
85. But then again,
I just don't understand this. Like I mentioned this in the last sort of podcast we did. I understand like people want to see their heroes and things, and you know, if it was free, it would just be endless queues and stuff like that. But I just 85 quid to see. You know, in my mind, these people, I know they provide us with films and comics and all, you know, games and voiceovers and stuff, and you know they do us a service, but they're only big because we watch their films and play their games and read their comics, and I really, it really puts a bad taste in my mouth to pay sort of 85 quid for a signed photograph or something. You know, I could understand maybe sort of like 15, 20, 25, maybe even, you know, 30 sort of to push and stuff. But I just, you know, that is ridiculous. I think Sigourney Weaver was about 90.
Yeah, but there is some that you do have to really question. I think if you're actually getting some proper FaceTime as well, that would probably be a bit nicer. You'd almost think that was like, well, not worth 80, 90, 100 quid, whatever. But it's that some of them as well, they look miserable as fuck. They just literally do a quick squiggle, hand your paper back. You're like, well, not even a hello, not even like a thank you for coming to see you. I supported your fucking films. You didn't even want to say hello to me, mate. That's sometimes how you feel with some of these people. But
you couldn't have been any more London there. You fucking slag. Get out the apples of pace.
I'll say that both of us. Look, I'm watching the cast now. I've got the cast on my screen, and obviously, Matt, you're live. Both myself and John Joe have photos of us with celebrities, which is quite funny. You know, John Joe's there with Matt Lucas, and I'm there with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which probably says a lot about me and how much of an old fart I am. But sure. But at the same time, I went there specifically just, you know, I kind of thought, right, I am not the type of person that really seeks out autographs. You know what I mean? I'm really not that type of person, unless it's something that I have that I own, that I think, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I would really like to get something signed that I could have it on my sort of geek shelf. So, for example, I mean, the only autographs that I really have are, I've got my Freddy Krueger pop signed by Robert Englund, because it's fucking Robert Englund. I've got a couple of old wrestling things signed by old wrestlers that I love. And the only other things that I got recently was, obviously, I'm a massive Naughty Dog fan. So Nolan North and Troy Baker were both at the recent MCM. So I got that, you know, something signed from the both of them, and that's it. When I heard about all of the stars that were going to be there, you know, I had no interest. I was interested in looking at the prices just to see how ridiculous they were. And the thing that actually got to me the most was, right, for example, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch is obviously £85. The next one below him, I think, was Kevin Smith. Like, I fucking love Kevin Smith. I really do. Did I want his autograph? Not really. Would it have been cool to shake his hand and kind of go, yeah, I've been a massive fan since I saw Clerks and Mallrats back when I was like 17. You know, yeah, that would be cool. But I wasn't paying 70 quid for the privilege of doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
I think even with Kevin Smith, who's meant to be sort of a bit more edgy and independent and things like, not independent, sort of, indie. It just seems weird. It sort of kind of flies in the face of sometimes what they're for, and I don't like it, and I there's no way I would queue up for that long to meet somebody and stuff. I just don't. I don't like queuing in general, but it's just sort of. It's not me being snobbish or anything. It's just like I just don't see the appeal. I think it's sort of slightly insulting in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, each to their own. Everybody, you know, I do have signed pictures and stuff, but the ones I've got signed, there was like, you know, I got one from Robert England, and he said it says Geek Pride this, and I talked to him after an interview and stuff, and it was sort of, you know, it was after, and there was no queue or anything, and he gave it to me, and what's his name? I've got a really good one from David Price. Oh my God, Darth Vader's name. David Price. Again, I did an interview with him and talked to him and stuff. And you know, and they weren't like stupidly expensive ones, like 20 quid or something like that. I didn't mind. That didn't bother me. But like lining up, you know, just because the bigger star has been in slightly bigger movies for 85 quid, 90 quid, it's, you know, 75 for Kevin Smith. This seems ludicrous. It just seems wrong.
I did actually get Kevin Smith's one because it was one of them ones that when I saw him pop up, I thought I'll go for it. It was 40. His one was 45, and I will be honest, I was a little bit annoyed because when I got halfway through the queue, they went, "Oh, there's no personalizations." I thought, really? But he actually was taking his time. He was chatting to everyone. That was quite nice. I will admit, I do like Kevin Smith, especially more recently when he's been doing a lot of the directing work for the DC TV shows. That was quite good. But I have to say, one of the best people I met, one of my favourite people, was Benedict Wong, who basically he played Wong in the new Doctor Strange film. He's also been in Black Mirror. He's done quite a few bits, but one of my favourite Prometheus. One of my favourite things he's been in though was he was in the IT Crowd in 2010 in the countdown.
Oh yes,
episode.
the Street Countdown.
I tell you what,
yes.
Street Countdown. Joe, you know what? And I love that episode so much. That is one of my favourite episodes of TV of all time. And Joe, seeing him, I just said to him, "I'm really disappointed." Like taking the piss, I went, "I'm really disappointed. You ain't got any photos from the IT Crowd episode." And he went, "Yes." He said, "But you insult me, I shall challenge you to Street Countdown." I was like, "You're brilliant." And he just has such a great sense of humour about him, and he was nice. He was very talkative. And I'll say this nicely: when I saw Benedict Cumberbatch and Benedict Wong, it was always going to be for me Benedict Wong, no matter what. I was always wanting to go and see him over Cumberbatch, and I'm glad I did. He was brilliant, and just to have him say, "Yes, I'll challenge you to Street Countdown," that just made me think, right, that's it. Yeah. Con's over for me. I'm happy that I don't need anything else.
The thing that really annoyed me, like as I said, I didn't really go there specifically to meet any of the people that were there. It just happened. There's a few people that I thought, oh fuck yeah, happy days, I'll meet those. But I wasn't going there specifically to see them. The thing that annoyed me the most, or actually made me laugh, was myself and Jade, we sneakily sort of walked around the room just to see the people, so we could say, oh look, there's, you know, Jade's a massive Stargate, Stargate SG-1 fan, so it was cool for her. She wanted to see Richard Dean Anderson and some of the other guys that were there, so it was cool to kind of sneakily walk around and at least even see them, you know, like there was a couple of people from Alien there and for me and stuff. But the thing that I thought which annoyed me the most was fucking Benedict, 85 quid an autograph Cumberbatch had hid himself behind a barrier.
Yeah,
right?
Few of them do that.
Yeah, so everyone else was on just at a table, like Mads Mikkelsen, who, to be honest, I think is a far better fucking actor than Benedict Cumberbatch, was just sitting there, and people were just coming up and taking his photo, and he was waving at them and stuff, and just, like, that was grand. Cumberbatch and actually John Cleese was the other one. They had these wee areas where they were sort of cordoned off and you couldn't see them unless you paid for the pleasure to go in and get an autograph.
See, I don't
and
know.
I just thought that's just a bit, egotistical, a wee bit sort of like prima donna.
To be honest, I have to question, was that actually them or was that Showmasters? Because it's always been the same, like Sigourney Weaver and stuff like that. They had sort of them in little booths, and I'm not sure if that's the case. They don't want people, not paying and getting the odd photograph. They want the people who've paid the big bucks to go and see these people.
Oh, come on. It's different if you're getting your photo taken with them. You know, if you have paid for the privilege of standing beside them on a professional photo, it's different that than just someone sneakily taking a random photo. You know, it's like, I just think it's really prima donna-ish to do that. And I think, fair enough, if you're saying showmasters are doing that to protect their investment, but at the same time, I think a lot of that is due to why did they not do that for the other stars? You know, I would say, why is John Cleese there? You know what I mean? Why is John Cleese there and not someone like Mads Mikkelsen or Marjorie from Game of Thrones? You know, was the other sort of highest, you know, like sort of rated person there other than Cumberbatch? Why was she not put to one side? Her cues were massive. Yeah. Why was it John Cleese?
Or Alison Hannigan as well, right? Which it's quite funny seeing her next to her husband, and his one I think was £30 autograph, and her one was £60. Can you imagine? He's just like thinking, yeah, she's fucking making all the money tonight.
Honestly, what have? Oh, no, I'm don't even get me started. I used to.
You better say what has Alexis Denisov actually done?
I was going to say, what have either of them done? To be totally, I suppose no, she was in that How I Met You. No, wasn't the
How I Met Your
Mother? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, American Pie.
I suppose she was sort of one of my first crushes actually. Willow, I love Willow. Back in the day.
Do you know who my first crush was?
What?
Melissa Joan Hart, aka Melissa.
Melissa explains it all.
Yeah, Clarissa. No, Clarissa.
Clarissa.
Yeah,
Clarissa. I was going to say Melissa.
Melissa, yeah. Melissa Joan Hart, a real name, but Clarissa. I had a big thing for her when I was a teenager. Yeah, just growing up, 13 years old, going, oh, I even think I wrote her a letter in my English class at the time, just thinking, you are the coolest thing ever. I really like it when what's his name comes into your room and they play that silly music.
I'll just mention two names, okay? Phoebe Cates from Gremlins.
No way, yeah.
And Jet from Gladiators.
Oh yeah, everybody had the Jet, mate. Yeah, she's like, what does she do now? She's like a statistician.
She's a fitness instructor.
No. She does something like with statistics and stuff, like, you know.
Wasn't she designing airplanes or something at one point?
Something mad, like, you know. That's what I love, right? You got like I used to have a massive thing for Melinda Messenger as well.
Yeah, I wonder why.
No, she's got like a PhD and stuff. Like, I love smart ladies, man, girls who have a bit of nice about them, who are intelligent, amazing, and like you know, just finding out that she was like a PhD, and I was like, you are my dream, brilliant. And then obviously, you know, like Jet from this is really bad because I don't know her real name. You know,
it's Diane Uteal.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, she was the games mistress, and
never forget.
Yeah, the games mistress, and you know, brilliant. Yeah, just sort of, you know, something about, you know, intelligent, beautiful, just sort of like amazing. I was just like, yeah, that's for me, like that. But yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you there. What you were talking about your first crush and ranting about prices, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think that's a rant over. But no, I mean, other than that, it was awesome to be there at LFCC. I think it was cool being there. To be honest, as soon as we walked in, like, I think I spent about nearly £200 in the first day I was there, just because there's so much. I mean, obviously the Northern Ireland ones are great, but there's not really that much of a range of stuff, you know. And I think once you go to somewhere like that where there is just everything you can think of is covered, you know, it's not just the same, you know, same sort of, you know, sellers that are there just selling the same pop figures and the same Pokemon stuff, you know. It's there's such a range, and everything you can imagine is covered. For me, there was like a ton of horror, you know, tables and stuff, and it was just great. So I spent so much money, but it was just massive, and it was, you know, like, Jesus, we got there pretty early on the Friday, the first day, and I think we only got halfway around the place before, you know, it was the closing time. So yeah, it was a real eye opener.
Like, every time I've been to the one in London, London Film and Comic Con, like, it is massive and there's loads going on. The only reason I sort of kind of prefer MCM over sort of LFCC, and I don't dislike LFCC, it's just that LFCC seems like it's literally get as many people in as possible, it doesn't seem as like they always have bigger stars and they always have a lot more sort of big stars there, and it always seems to be a lot more people. But with MCM, it just seems a bit more not organized, but well, yeah, organized in a way. It just seems like there's more signs, and there's like I'm not sure. I wasn't there this year, so I said there's more signs telling you what you're going to do. There's there's a lot. The queuing system seems to be quite well sorted out, so there's not like loads of blockages. When I was there, it would have been a couple of years back, the year before San Diego. It was stupidly hot, and there was just the only way out of sort of one area was in this lift. And it was just bunged, and it just felt uncomfortable, and I wasn't enjoying that. I was enjoying the spectacle and stuff, but I wasn't enjoying the fact that I was just being crammed in like a sardine, and that was slightly off-putting for me.
I will say that with LFCC, I will admit there is a bit of almost like a free-for-all when you first go in. They basically it's just like, okay, right, go, and it feels like almost that slow motion running. It's like,
Chariots of Fire.
Now, there was something that happened. Now, Mike didn't have a great time when he was there. He went down solely to cover it for us. A couple of our guys went, but they put a bar on press activity in a lot. They weren't allowed into talks. They weren't allowed to do a lot of this stuff that they would generally do. Something apparently happened in the press, sort of not the press screening, but the talk the night in the press night. Something had happened, and then they just put a bar on all press activity, and so a couple of our guys had travelled there, and couldn't do anything, other than do sort of walk around and take a photograph of what they've probably seen a million times. The whole thing is maybe sort of talk to some of the guests, get some interviews and things like that, and they weren't allowed even into the talks. And so let's just say Mr. Orvis, very, very annoyed. I was at MCM and I was just getting loads of messages from him. Matt,
I did see him.
Yeah, he wasn't impressed.
I did see him when he was I think he might have just been up to Kevin Smith or his people, and he did look quite a bit pissed off. So I was like, oh, so what's happening? He went, oh, well, yeah, there's been a block on the press. So I'm just trying to see what's happening now. And then next thing I knew, he'd gone. I thought, oh, shit. So obviously he didn't get it sorted out. But I will admit that I think there was a bit of a funny atmosphere in terms of the talks. It did seem to be very little coverage anywhere. Because normally when I look online afterwards, I'd always see like someone's gone, oh, so here's our coverage of the such and such talk. Here's out of this or out of that. The only thing I think I saw a little bit on the Kevin Smith live podcast that was happening on the Saturday night, and there was a bit from the Back to the Future talk when you had Biff from Back to the Future playing his song.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and I will admit I did see Biff because he's basically contributing to my Back to the Future box set, which I've been getting signed by numerous cast members. The only two cast members now I do need is Michael J. Fox and Crispin Glover. They're the only two I really need now.
It was so sad when I was there. I saw Michael J. Fox was there with some of the cast, and it's just a shame just to see the state he's in now. It was kind of heartbreaking. He's still powering through. He's got his own sort of like charity thing going on, and but it was just like your childhood was just like ripped to shreds because it's MS he has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's. Sorry, yeah, that's right.
Not MS.
Yeah, Parkinson's.
But he was doing autographs, but the only way you were going to get his autograph is if you had the platinum pass for him, and that was £420. Seriously, £420, and that got you one autograph. It got you, I think it was two photos. I think it was a photo just standing with him and a photo with the DeLorean and with Christopher Lloyd. And that was also to go to the talk as well. So £420 for that.
Yeah. Can I ask, is that normal now for the mainland cons that you need to pay to get into the talks?
Yeah, I think
majority of them now.
That's the thing is the talks. That's what Mike said. You had to pay. There was tickets to get into the talks. Like every time I've been, you just wandered in. I was asked, last time I was there, the PR last was like, "Oh, can you ask a question?" It's like, no problem, ask a question, and we just wandered in and did our thing. But there weren't you weren't allowed in. To the end of these without paying a ticket, and they said, "Well, we're full up, you can't come in," and it's just like
we actually went over, and I just stuck my head up. It was, I think, it was on the Sunday when Jay was getting ready to do, or sorry, the Saturday when she was getting ready to do her cosplay masquerade thing, and I just kind of stuck my head over. Now they had people there sort of blocking it, obviously members of staff blocking you from getting in, and I just kind of looked over them, and it was I can't remember who it was. It might have been a couple of Game of Thrones. It might have been I think it had actually been Hordor was doing a talk with a couple of the other ones, and it was there was half empty, and I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, but if you look at the ticket prices, the Game of Thrones one I think was £25 a ticket, and that's a rip off. I remember the first time I went to LFCC was in 2009, and I remember that year I went to there was a Doctor Who talk, which was pretty much led by Tom Baker, and that was so fucking funny. I will admit that was so good. There was a Red Dwarf talk as well, which I went to, and I believe there was another one as well. I'm just trying to remember. Oh yeah, there was a Star Wars one which had Dave Prowse, Kenny Baker, also had Chewbacca's name. His name's Peter Mayhew. Had all these people there, Jeremy Bulloch, and it was just that experience. It was just seeing all these people that obviously I'd grown up watching. And all right, you might not associate them as being the biggest names now, but to me, seeing that was just breathtaking, and didn't have to pay for a single talk. All right, the room was full. I will admit it was pretty crowded, but it was fun and it was quite good.
I don't agree with that at all. I understand, right? In a way, I can understand sort of higher prices sometimes for some of the bigger stars, because it's going to cost a lot of money to get them to come on. I could be making a million zillion pounds doing this movie, so it's gonna cost you to get me to come over to your convention. Fine. So they have to inflate the prices so people can come and see it. But for talks and stuff, it just doesn't. I know it just stinks of money grabbing. It doesn't.
I understand. I would go with the first come first serve on the talks. I mean, I think that's a fair system, because a lot of these talks can be promotions as well. And if I've learned anything from going to the MCM as well as LFCC, MCM always seems to be a little bit more, I'd say, a little bit more generous. And some of the talks I've been to at MCM ones, they're then doing free signings after. They're going, we'll be outside if you want. And I'm going back about 5 years, back to 2012. I will just say before I carry on, if you guys watched the film called Storage 24?
No.
You've probably never heard of it either, have you?
No.
Well, basically, this was a film written by Noel Clarke, who done Kid Althood, Doctor Who. I think he's a great writer and he's a great filmmaker. Him and an indie director I know called Johannes Roberts. They done this alien film called Storage 24, and all right, I'm not saying it was a great film. It was pretty fucking terrible, but they were doing chat. They were like having questions, answers, and afterwards they went, "Oh, if you want to come and see us, we'll be doing autographs." And they got these massive posters, like 4x3 foot of like advertising the film. And they're both signing them and giving them away. They're doing photos. And I felt quite bad because when Noel Clarke's obviously getting all his attention, and the poor director, he's like he's taking the fucking phone, taking the photos of Noel Clarke and whoever's with him. I thought it was quite bad. But all right, I will be honest, I didn't know Johannes until afterwards, and I've interviewed the guy a couple of times since then. But I thought, no, Joe, what? I'm sure this guy's going to go on to some better things. So I'm now going to have my photo with him as well. I'm glad I did. And he's actually recently released the film 47 Meters Down, which I got to see a bit of the filming of, because I had a radio studio right next to where they were actually making the film. And
Jojo, gonna have to stop. Jojo,
you're kind of breaking up a wee bit.
You're breaking up, mate. Your audio is going. You've got anything downloading in the background or anything like that?
No, I'm
You're okay now, mate. Maybe it's because you're talking really fast.
Yeah, it's not keeping up with me. Sorry, guys.
Mid round.
Anyway, so I got to watch the filming of some of this movie, 47 Meters Down, and at the moment it is apparently the second highest earning independent film of the year.
Really?
And yeah, it's a new shark film, and I, I've not actually watched it yet. I'm still meaning to see it, but this guy is basically now going on to bigger and better things, and it's one of the things that I look back and I go, glad I took the time. I'm glad I got to actually, have the time with this guy, and that's what I mean. MCM, I think, does produce some good opportunities like that, and
yeah, they don't. I think with MCM, the weighing them up, I got the impression, like, I've been to both. MCM is a bit of everything, and they don't spaff all their money on guests because they generally, they don't have massive guests. I think we had Manu Bennett and
it was the same actually in Belfast,
yeah,
and
Warwick Davis and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was good. I've got an interview with Manu Bennett actually to put online, and it's really good. Just for
I want to hear that.
It's sort of it's good in the fact that he swears a lot, and there's kids in the screen, and he keeps apologizing. He's like, "Sorry, kid." And he points at this kid every time he says "fuck" or "shit." And he drops he drops the N bomb at one point in time, and you're just like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Like,
did he do the haka?
No, he did get a bit annoyed because, not annoyed. They did ask him, and he kind of said, "I'm not a dog. I don't do it." Okay, I don't.
He did it in Belfast, and it was an experience. Like, it was like because obviously quite a lot of obviously Ulster rugby.
Yeah,
There's quite a lot of rugby fans there, so the whole stage was packed full of rugby people doing the haka with him, which is quite funny.
Oh, amazing, brilliant, yeah. I was kind of gutted he didn't, but I understand. She basically, the woman just asked him, and he went, "Well, no, I'm not going to do it." And then he started explaining about it and what it's for and things, which was really good. It was quite. His interview was quite sort of. It was slightly deep, but maybe too deep at points. It got pretty sort of like melancholic. At some way, but it was a very interesting, very good talk. But that was there. Just there. People could walk in. You could just sort of. Sit there and listen to the guy, and that was really good. They had lots of other ones going in the auditorium, and I liked that. Whereas with LFCC, it just seems just like jam as many people as you possible. Loads of guests. Don't get me wrong, loads of guests. And when I have been able to interview people, they're like, when I was there, I got the interview sort of the guys from Game of Thrones. Lots of people. It was brilliant, but. If they're basically now making you pay to get into talks, and there's been a press ban on talking to people and stuff, then I don't understand. I suppose they don't need press anymore because they're so big.
I think Showmasters. I think they when they first started doing LFCC, I think it was about 13, 14 years ago now. It was one of them little experiments. They were like, "Oh, let's give this a go." And every year, I will admit, they are expanding. They are making it bigger. They're making it more accessible to some people. They're going quite varied on the guests that are bringing in, and they're basically going, look, calm down, we've got something for everyone. But I think what's going to probably be its downfall is the cost, and the cost of it is just getting too high. And my little sister, she went to her first Comic-Con this year. She went to MCM in London in May, and her experience of it, she just couldn't believe how good it was. She got to meet Tomska. That was her first one, the YouTuber Tomska, and her reaction to that was priceless. She got to meet Nichelle Nichols from Star Trek. She got to meet a few of the characters from what's that show, from Adventure Time, and she also got to meet Lou Ferrigno as well, the Hulk. And it was one of the times I went, I'm actually jealous. I can't believe you met the fucking Hulk.
And it was in Manchester actually, Frango. I'd like to make a point that obviously it's all down to what you want. Personally, guests, I like, if I can interview them, brilliant. If I can talk to them, awesome. But it's not my frame. I like a variety of stuff to see and stuff. So I do tend to prefer MCM. That being said, Showmasters now run Play Expo in Manchester, and that's what. Yeah, they took it over. They bought them out, and that's possibly one of my favorite conventions. Well, in the country and stuff. It's all retro game. Well, it's not. It's all gaming, and there's some retro, and I love it. That's amazing. I love Play Expo. But yeah, I suppose it's down to sort of what you want. like just my last experience of LFCC was just so, because it was hot and everybody was inside. It was just so busy, and I just wasn't overly feeling it.
I like that. I like that. And to be honest, the thing that I liked most about it was the scale and the variety. And that was the main thing. I wasn't going there specifically for the stars. One, I was going there obviously because, Jade won tickets, but at the same time, we went there and it was just the fact that there's such the scale of the place. It was packed, but you could actually move around easily as opposed to some of the ones where you couldn't move. And it was the variety. It was the variety of sellers that were there. It wasn't just the same stalls repeated over and over and over again. Yeah. And that's what I liked. That what I didn't like about it is, as I said, the cost, obviously, the tons of stars. It was fantastic for people who want to do that, but I just think, just as you guys have said, it's for people, the collectors who actually want to go and save up for this. It's the amount of money that you need to splurge for the opportunity to access every part of it. And I can imagine, you spend quite a lot, John Joe.
I think this is probably quite bad to admit this. I'm not gonna. This year, I definitely spent less than what I've done before, but one year I will admit I did spend about nearly £700 over one weekend. But
that's nothing, John Joe. I'll not tell you how much money I spent in Vegas when I was there. Actually, no, not even that. The amount of money I spent when I was in San Diego Comic-Con, when I was like buying. I went there, and obviously things are in dollars, so like something's like would be 300 quid here, is $300 there, and I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, so I can buy a Hulkbuster for $300? I'm just like, So I thought, I'm gonna play it wise. I'm gonna be like, hey buddy, so how much can you do me a deal on this? And he's like, no man, that's $300. I was like, come on man, I'm gonna buy all this other stuff, how much can you do me? He went, $300, and I was just like, come on man. He went, $300. I was like, oh, you drive a tough bargain. Okay, sold.
I don't want to be too critical, to be honest, because I could be very, very, very critical about the Showmaster show in Belfast. I really could be, but I don't want to potentially ruin any sort of link that we have with Showmasters. But oh god. But yeah, to be honest, that's why I haven't actually written any review of the Showmasters show,
because it wasn't great.
No,
I think because they're small and they're just sort of pushing out. I got that impression when they first came to they did Manchester, an MFCC. I don't think they've had one since actually, because it didn't really go down brilliantly.
It's the organization, and to be honest, a big thing about it, I'll not go into specific, but a big thing was where some friends of ours who are local cosplayers, and I won't say cosplay celebrities for God's sake, that's not wrong, but they would turn up to a lot of the shows and make appearances and so on in the sort of local cosplaying scene. They were asked specifically to run different parts of the show, including the masquerade, and the way they were treated was ridiculous. But that really put a sour taste in my mouth, and for a lot of other people as well. But again, I think going back to the London Film and Comic Con, I loved it just in terms of the scale and the variety, and I'm really glad I've been to it. To be honest, next time I think I might go to MCM London just to see, or MCM Manchester, I suppose, just to see.
London's brilliant, man. Like MCM London was the first big convention I went. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. MCM Manchester was the first one I went to. Then Play Expo. Then I think I went to MCM London in October, and it was just absolutely insane, like how big it was. My little mind was blown, and I loved it. No, I lie. LFCC was LSCC, London Super Comic Con, was my first ever con in London, which was a small. It was in the same place as it was in the Excel, but it was a smaller. It was comic based one, and it was really good. But then that sort of kind of gave me the taste, and then I went to the bigger ones. But MCM London's huge, and there is a bit of a sort of like a party thing, because everybody gets in the hotels around you and stuff, and it's always very expensive to get sort of accommodation around there, and everybody gets super smashed, and Matt generally has a hangover for one of the days and doesn't get very much done. But it was amazing. that being said, I got super drunk with my brother and Julietta and her boyfriend Josh and my girlfriend Louise and John and Ali and all that lot. We were out until like 6 a.m, I think.
Because the party don't stop.
Yeah, it was just like, and then next day, me and my brother were like, yeah, we were gonna rock up and cosplay and stuff, and then we went, totally not happening. You know, just super like, yeah, that is not going to happen. So we just sort of kind of bummed around and went, yeah, we're pretty hungover right now.
Well, a bit of news from me. My lovely lady has kind of, well, that and the fact that I'm going to a lot of cons now with her and helping out. I have now said that I'm going to do my first proper cosplay for the cons next year. For the local cons next year.
Please say you're going as Cable.
As Cable? No.
Hacksaw
That looks awesome.
Jim Duggan.
Well, I'm actually doing Macho Man Randy Savage for Halloween. That's a different matter. That's a different matter. No, I am about to start the journey of building a Geralt of Rivia costume for from The Witcher 3 for the conventions next year.
Cool.
That's going to be a fucking massacre, but sure, we'll see how we get on.
It's a lot of fun, but then, you know, you're just like, you don't want to build anything afterwards. It takes so long. I don't know how people make multiple costumes. I'm just like, I was dead after my first one. I was just like, fucking hell, it's falling apart now, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll just gaffer tape it together.
I'm just gonna have a go. It's something that I've kind of wanted to do for a while. I'm gonna start low. Like I did my Thing one. I did my McCready from the Thing last year for Halloween. That was just sort of like a first go. So I'm going to try Macho Man for Halloween, and then, the Geralt of Rivia, which includes probably making the swords, and, the crossbow and absolutely everything. But sure, I'll maybe do some update videos or photos for the site. See how we get on.
I'm annoyed because our chat thing's not working for bloody Facebook, and I don't know what's going on. It's just annoying me. But yeah, if anybody is listening at this moment in time, we should be able to see your comments one way or another, so by all means jump in.
We're not normally this moany. We're not normally this as remarkable about stuff. Sure.
So
we're normally really cheery and talk about Rick and Morty and
have you seen the new series
about Rick and Morty?
We've got to. Have you seen the new series?
I watched Pickle Rick on Monday morning.
Amazing!
And this was in my little bit of time when I actually had some internet, being in like the rural part of the UK. And I tell you what, Pickle Rick was, I've got to say, it was fucking brilliant. I loved that episode.
It's like they've just turned around, you know, they've just kind of gone, Pickle Rick. They just said that name and went, let's just build an episode around that shit. And they did.
It feel like it. It's like the first 5 minutes of the episode are just him laying as a pickle, and then you just see him like roll into the sewer, and it was just comical genius. I don't know.
And he's just doing it so he doesn't have to go to therapy with his family. It's just like
that's brilliant. What's that? So what's that needle for? Nothing. So that needle wouldn't happen to make you back to human again, would it? No, because that'd be stupid. That's just there because it is there. Oh, so you don't mind if I take it? Yeah, go on then. And then it's just like and he's out in the sun, so he starts getting cooked. Then obviously it rains, and he goes into the sewer, and then he fights a load of fucking rats. He fights crazy.
Jaguar.
Yeah. Played by Danny Trejo as well. It was brilliant.
Super random, man. Absolutely super random. But yeah, I love it. I just love Rick and Morty. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I don't know why, but it was crazy. It's got to be I will admit, it's probably the stupidest concept ever, but it was probably one of the best things I've seen on TV this year.
Yeah, I can't deny that. That, and obviously the Game of Thrones is pretty good. I'm liking the fact that there's fewer episodes, but they're kind of jamming a bit more into each episode. You know,
I don't want to say formulaic. I really don't. I mean, geez, I'm loving Game of Thrones so far. That the season has been great, but it just seems to be it's very condensed, like too condensed. Because I know they're trying to cram it into the 7 episodes, but I think each of the episodes has kind of followed the same format in terms of, okay, here's an intro bit, here's which is a little bit exciting. Here's a lot of exposition. Here's a really nice reuniting part, and then here's 15 minutes at the end of pure balls out action. And it seems to be sort of that is the way each episode has sort of been structured. And I don't know, I'm just going to go on. It would have maybe been better if it had been stretched to the 10 episodes, and you could have had a slightly lower key episode where you have a lot more and you can elaborate on a lot more of the characters. Like I think some characters are just kind of disappearing and then they're gone and that's it. And it seems a bit sort of like that their sort of last scenes are a bit sort of quick and wasted almost, like Miranda Reed.
I think there's been some shows that do seem to get to this point. They know they're wrapping up. They know they've only got so much they can do, but it does seem like you do feel like that there's that little bit of effort that's almost gone now. Whereas Game of Thrones in its prime, like through like season 2, 3, and 4, it felt like there was something new, something exciting each time. But yeah, as you're saying, it feels formulaic. It feels like now they've just gone right. We can just tunnel, like just bring this out as we got it, and we just hope that
I just hope they don't pussy out with. I have this worry that in the books, Martin's going to have it as a. He says it's going to be bittersweet. So you're basically going to have something where it's like, oh, that's good. And then, bam, you're going to get hit with something really horrible at the end. And that's going to be it. And,
White Walkers win.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, White Walkers win, sort of like my theory, Littlefinger sitting on the fucking throne after killing everybody. Or, something like that. Something majorly fucked up that just goes, oh my god, what the fuck? Instead of like, Danny and John are on the throne together, everybody's happy, way. I don't want that. I really hope.
How much spoiler talk can we do?
Well, okay, yeah, so anybody who, will say now, anybody's listening to this or watching this, big spoilers, we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones, so if you haven't watched it, then stop listening now.
Why hasn't, because Bran's supposed to be the three-eyed raven, he knows everything that's ever happened, everything that will ever happen. Why is he still letting Littlefinger there? For how much he's betrayed the Stark family, just kill the fucker already.
Well,
he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Yeah, I think he's like literally, he's unimportant.
He's dead.
I know, but he's unimportant to the grander scheme of things. Yeah, and I think it doesn't really matter. In the end, he could be thinking, well, he may have done that, but his armies, if basically they kill him, then there's a chance his army might leave. Yeah. So you don't know.
If you look at his reaction to Mira Reed leaving.
Yeah.
Her again, that's what it meant in terms of like seeing a character who deserves a better send off, because if that's her kind of going from the series, that's a bit shit. But I think the reaction that he had towards her leaving and her mention of obviously her brother and Hodor and Summer both dying for him, you could tell that he's now just going right. Yes, they're gone, but they're insignificant in terms of what his actual task is, and his task is now all he's thinking about is just the Night King and his battle with the Night King. The upcoming, everyone else is expendable in a sense, and that's why he's probably just. I mean, what he said, the whole chaos is a ladder, like cut Littlefinger to the bone, because it was just like
what he said.
He's letting him know. Yeah, he's letting him know that he knows what's he knows what his game is, but it's like I don't care because you are insignificant in the overall plan.
I just want to say this because I was starting to get vibes of like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. It's like he's still there, he's still important to a certain degree, but it's like he just doesn't care about the people around him.
Someone put a meme up of that earlier on.
I honestly did not know that. I've literally just been thinking that in the last few minutes. I've just been thinking he's like Dr. Manhattan, except he ain't blue like 300 foot tall with his wang going back and forth. That's the only difference.
Not enough blue cock.
Not enough blue cock in Game of Thrones yet. But it's what it seems like to me. It feels like he's now gone to that kind of region. It's just like he's cut off almost from the world. He there is a slight care, but it's like he's more caring for the whole idea of life going on. He's more caring about the whole world going on instead of caring about the people around him, caring about emotions or love, hate or anything. It's just like that. Just let things go on. I'll do what I have to do. But whatever you do now, it doesn't really matter because you're either all going to die or you're all going to live. That's almost his attitude.
Yeah, I just like there's obviously that theory that because he can, it shows that he can manipulate sort of time effectively. So there's the theory that he could have created all of this, that he is the reason all this shit happened, or there could be the fact that he sort of is going to fuck things up. Like I was thinking about it, like. Oh, I have no idea how they would do it. It sounds completely far-fetched. It is a fantasy film, so they could think of something. But it's like, you could have you've got the fact that he can manipulate time, yeah. And at the start, there's this thing about that dagger, the Valerian steel dagger. It started the series off, and it's at the end of the series. And it could be that Arya basically realizes that Bran, either consciously or subconsciously, is fucking stuff up, and he is actually the enemy. That she kind of travels back in time, and she's the guy who tries to assassinate him.
But then no, she wouldn't be able to. She wouldn't be able to manipulate time. Could it not be the fact that because he can warp into anyone at any time, at any could it be the fact that it reaches the crescendo that the Night King is about to win and is about to take over Westeros, and he decides then to warg back into the assassin and to kill himself, because by killing himself, then he would then stop everything from happening.
Oh my god, Dave, you just blew my fucking mind. That's amazing. That is such a good theory, Dave. I don't think anybody's seen that. Anybody said that as well.
But you know what I mean? Because essentially,
Donnie Darko stuff there. Jeez.
Wow. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, Dave, that's amazing. Good idea. Yes.
Joe, I reckon that would fuck up so many people's minds.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you get this idea? What's going to happen? Is Cersei going to win? Is Daenerys going to take the throne? Will Jon Snow be able to claim a rightful heirship? No. Bran just kills his younger self, and it's.
I'm gonna make 3 predictions. Okay, here's my 3 predictions. That's what we should all do. We should all make 3 predictions now. Okay.
And listen to this next year when it finishes.
And see how we go. Right. Here's my 3 predictions. One. Okay. 1. Cersei is gonna die by the end of this series.
Right. Yeah.
And
How do you think? I think
it'll be Jaime that'll kill her. I think Jaime will kill her.
Right, but
that'll be
okay.
Right,
sorry, carry on.
So that's number 1. That's number 1. Okay. Number 2, obviously, in the next episode, there's already been the sort of the teaser for it, that it's Drogon meeting Jon for the first time. The Drogon will sort of have a link or react well to Jon. And that will be the start of the realization that he is obviously Targaryen, and he will ride one of the dragons. Okay, right. Probably Rhaegal.
Yeah.
And number 3, and then there'll be a big dragon battle between because I think the Night King will kill one of the dragons and will ride that as a white dragon, right? And number 3, Bran. At the end of the very last thing that will happen is Bran waking up in the shower the next morning, and Arya coming up and opening the door, and him going, "Hey, how's it going?" And it'll end just like Dallas.
No way. No, mate, I don't. You know what? As much as that'd be hilarious.
No, only joking.
As much as that'd be hilarious, I just
wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Joe, I like the happens.
I like the idea of. I like the idea of him killing himself in a way. Because that sort of, but again, I'm not sure if I don't know if that's a bit of a cop out in a way, because it's like it sort of negates everything. Even if he kills himself, it stops the White Walkers, but it doesn't stop everything else. So it might.
My real thing. Sorry. I'm taking over this conversation, but I promise I'll let you guys go. My real thing is, I think Cersei will die by the end of this series. I think Jaime will be alive and he'll be kept as a prisoner, and he'll start to fall for Dany. He'll be kept as a prisoner by Dany, and he'll start to she'll start to make him realize how much of a monster Cersei is becoming, and he'll kill Cersei and he'll be the Queen Slayer, right? But so she'll die by the end of the series, but by the end of the show, Dany will be the true villain. Dany will turn full on Mad Queen Targaryen, and it'll come down to a dragon fight between Dany on one of the dragons, Jon on another one, and the White King or the Night King on a third. And it'll be a big dragon war.
Okay. All right. I'll throw in what I think then. Okay. So I think Cersei's going to die as well, but I don't think she's going to be assassinated. Okay. I think tying in... Now, I mentioned this. If you watch our YouTube channel, if you're watching this, then you might be watching it on our YouTube channel. There's one I've talked about Littlefinger, and my theory about Littlefinger towards the end. Now, there's a bit in it where I mention this, and it's that I don't think she's going to die by somebody's hand. She's going to do it herself, and what she'll do is there's Dany sort of has one of these dreams in the halls of the Undying, I think it is, in one of the early seasons, and in the books even. And she's walking through the Red Keep, and it's all it's all busted up, and it looks like it's snowing. I don't think it's snow. I think she's blown it up with dragon fire, and the snow was actually ash, and that's what the ash represents. And I think she's basically... It'll get to the point where she's fucked. She's literally going to... She has nothing else to, maybe... they're about to surrender, or maybe the people are going to go, right, well, yeah, we want Dany instead of you, whatever, if they besiege the city or whatever. And I think she goes, fuck you guys, I'm going to go all sept in this shit, and then she just blows the fuck out of it and blows everything up. And then instead of it being snow, it'll be ash. That being said, in the dream, the building is still there, it's just like there's no roof and things like that, so if it had been blown up from below, it might be a bit more... I don't know, but I think that might be... I think she'll kill herself. I don't think she'll be killed by anybody. I think she'll do it on her own terms, because she's quite a strong character, and I don't think it would suit her to be killed by somebody else in a way. I think if she did it herself, But I think Jaime killing her would be really poetic. Again, it links into the Kingslayer and the Queenslayer. It would be, but I just don't see how he would get there. That's the thing. I appreciate he's going to probably be captured. Yeah. I don't know if he's got enough time to sort of fall for Dany and make that scene. You know, all of this.
But you can see how he's turning. You can see the two ways. You can see Dany becoming more and more corrupted by power, and you can see Jaime becoming more and more doubtful of the motives of. He keeps on making these little comments about Cersei, and so you can see the doubt starting to grow. And when you link back to the whole Kingslayer thing, obviously he killed the king. Everyone thought it was just because it was his play for power, but it actually wasn't. He was doing it because the king was about to blow up all of King's Landing. Would it not be the same that if Cersei was about to do the same thing, that he would, in a way, would not be poetic for him to do the same thing?
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense, that sort of thing. But then, yeah, that would make sense. It means he needs to get back to King's Landing, though. He might not be captured. Maybe Bronn sort of saves and brings him back. I kind of like the idea of Arya basically killing him and then taking his face to get close to Cersei.
Awesome. That'll be good.
Yeah, just to sort of get close to her and stuff. Now, obviously, that would negate my point of her killing herself, because Arya would do it. Maybe she stops her and kills Arya and then sort of blows everything up or whatever. But yeah, so I think Cersei's going to kill herself. Though I do like the idea of it being more poetic, because that does make sense. I think that at the end of the season, it's basically White Walkers will invade at the end. We're not going to see a lot of them until the end. The last sort of episode will be them coming across the frozen lake, frozen water, instead of and circumventing the wall. Instead of going through the wall. Now, that being said, obviously they can go through it because Bran's marked now and he's past the wall, so they can just they can walk through shit. Now, my issue here is that the books, and I've mentioned this in that theory piece I did, the books and the series diverge quite a lot, and I think that they might bring in the books a thing called the Horn of Winter and the Horn of Summer. Horn of Winter is something that's basically will awaken an ice dragon from inside the wall, and break the wall down.
Yeah.
And the Horn of Summer is a horn which I think Euron Greyjoy may.
He has it in the books, yeah.
Yes,
he has
and
it in the
I
books.
think he will use that to control one of the dragons, one of Dany's dragons and things. So in the series, what they're doing, they're using the frozen water to sort of kind of get past the whole. Well, we need them to get through the wall. Well, what we'll do is we'll go around it, and the ice dragon, maybe they'll kill one. Like I said, they'll kill one of the dragons, and that's how it'll come about. In the books, I think they'll just awaken an ice dragon, and then the Horn of Summer, that'll be used to control one of the dragons, whereas conversely they're using the scorpion, the not the trebuchets, that's catapult things, the ballistas, to kill the dragons that way. And I think it's just going to be, in the books, it'll be like dragon versus dragon, sort of that way and stuff. And then finally, I think, and I obviously now that sort of like Bran kind of knows his shit in the series, and so it might not happen in the series, but I really hope it happens in the book. I think Littlefinger will be on the throne at the end. I think he's done so much throughout all the series. He's always been this little sort of. He's not a main character. He's sort of kind of like just behind the main character. Nobody's gunning for him. Everybody doesn't like him, but nobody's really gunning for him. He's not on Arya's list. He's just kept himself so sort of. He's fucked up a few times, but he's sort of got through. And I reckon, with all the war, killing all the main characters and killing all the main people, he'll just make his way. And it could be like depleted army. Dany is on the throne. Jon Snow might be sort of, he sacrificed himself for the greater good of the White Walkers. Dany's dragons are all but dead. Maybe she's got one left. And then maybe Littlefinger will use the Horn of Summer to sort of command the dragon to burn everybody in the keep. And then, obviously, she doesn't get affected by fire. So he uses the dagger, the main dagger that started the whole thing, to kill her, and then that's it. He just sort of sits on the throne, smirks, and that's it. He is now King Nana, because that's his story, and it ties in with the history behind it as well, because George R.R. Martin is really, like, if you listen to his interviews and where he gets his inspiration from, like The Wall is Hadrian's Wall, and it's based a lot on the Wars of the Roses and the Roman Civil Wars, and they're not to do with who was the most honorable fighter and who was the best. It was all about who's the most cunning and who had the best sort of, the ones who won out generally weren't the nicest guys. They're the ones who were good at strategizing, and that's what Littlefinger is. And I just think it would be a horrible ending. It would be like, what the fuck? But I think it would be amazing. I think that would be how he could, footnote his masterpiece, just with something like that. So if they don't do it in the series and they pussy out, then fine. But I hope they do something bad at the end. But I think in the book that would be amazing. I think that.
How about Littlefinger sitting down on the throne, or he's on the throne, happy as Larry that he's won out, and he decides to go out, take a walk outside to look over his spoils, and Ghost runs up and just bites his fucking head off.
Bites his dick
that
off.
would just be perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Or even Arya, or maybe like basically he sort of.
Well, Arya bites his dick off.
Yeah, but bites his dick off. So basically, Arya is sort of there, and as long as he gets on the throne, I just need it to happen, because he's done. I kind of feel he is a dick, but he's worked so hard to be that dick. He's getting
Or Tyrion on the throne.
There's something about possibly Tyrion being killed, sort of.
There's someone about Tyrion possibly being Targaryen.
Yeah. Well, he's not in the books. There's no there's no inference towards that whatsoever, because it's Little Griff. But because there is no Little Griff in this series, they are sort of implying that he could be a Targaryen. So he might be again, if you want to see one of my theory pieces, the third head of the dragon. But yeah, so those are my predictions. John Joe,
Yeah, okay. Right, so we've got 3 episodes, I believe, left of the series. So what I'm thinking is, in the next few episodes, we're going to get a bit more of a setup. So we might see a bit more of the White Walkers. We're going to see them. I think by the end of the series, we'll see them hitting the wall. I reckon that'll be when they come to basically break through, heading straight into the mainland of Westeros. I think going with your idea, I do believe this thing about the dragon being in the wall, and I reckon this will be the Ice King. He'll be standing at the top of the wall, and then the season 7 finishes with him holding his arms up, all the other White Walkers looking up to him as if like, yes, you are a lord. And then all of a sudden you just hear this roar of a dragon. You see the shadow of a dragon. You think, what the fuck's happened there? So that's it. Season 7 finished. So I don't think much else is going to happen in this series. Season 8, I reckon there's going to be something about we're seeing the Mad Queen bit happen now. We're seeing a bit with Cersei basically getting rich on power, and I reckon something will happen. Something will, because this is Game of Thrones. Weird shit does happen all the time. Something will corrupt her mind, and I reckon with her madness, she'll start thinking maybe not so much she can collaborate with the White Walkers, but she may think, right, most of her enemies are up in the north. So she reckons, let the White Walkers carry on. They'll destroy them, and then that's it. She thinks, she ain't got to worry about that happening to her. But I reckon there'll be something that makes her maybe come under the control of like the White Walkers. I reckon there'll be something that will...
I don't know, man. I don't see it sort of. I think she needs to die at the end of the season, or at least be dealt with by that. I just don't see it sort of.
This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that maybe not so much proper control, but I reckon she may get early in season 8 or maybe at the end of season 7. I reckon she will get killed. I reckon Arya will cross off that last name on her list. She will get rid of Cersei, but Cersei will come back. It'll be one of the things that you'll be thinking, how is she back? She's just had her throat slit open, or she's just been stabbed through the heart or whatever. And I reckon that she will be under control of the White Walkers. Because, I mean, all right, the White Walker army is pretty much unkillable, but how much would they benefit from having an army coming from two sides to fight basically the rest of Westeros? So they've got this action going on, and yeah, I reckon the end is still the big fight between the dragons. I reckon Jon will take control of one dragon, probably Rhaegar. I think Daenerys will take Drogon. Something will happen with the third dragon. I reckon the third dragon will be taken over by Euron, and I think then the other two have to then kill the third dragon. I think then that's the only way. If he took control of a dragon, that's the only way they're going to get rid of it. It has to die. So
could Bran not work into one of the dragons?
Possibly.
I think
I'm just sort of. I think this is what sort of is getting me, because in the books, obviously, they can have a bit more expedition in it. There's 2 more books to come out. They can explain a lot more, because there's it feels kind of like they're trying to rush to the end now in the series.
They are. They're setting everything up. I mean, the next episode, from the teaser that I've seen, the next episode is all exposition. It seems to be a lot about it's Bran obviously letting them know which direction the Army of the Dead are going. So it looks as though, I can't remember the name of the keep, but it's the one that the Brotherhood Without Banners are heading to now.
the Red Keep.
Is it the Red Keep? It's the one on it's something on the water.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
it's the one. Yeah, it's the one where it meets the water. So that's the direction they're coming in, because you can see in the season trailer, there looks to be a battle between the Brotherhood Without Banners, Jon, Davos, and Gendry.
Gendry, yeah.
Or Gendry, sorry, I was fighting. Are fighting, like, Gendry's there with the fucking hammer, like Robert Baratheon's hammer.
Mm.
So it seems to be it's a fight between them, and they're surrounded on all sides by the whites, and a dragon comes and fights for them. So, so I think the next couple of episodes will set up to that, and that will be the end of the series. It'll be, as you say, either one of the dragons will be killed, and it'll be that, or there'll be the white dragon will come from the wall, and that will be setting up, and then it'll be next series will just be battle all the way, But I think that's the only major set piece that looks to be left. That final battle between the Brotherhood Without Banners and the whites.
Now, from what I've heard, we're gonna have to wrap this up soon as well. We've been bantering on for a while, but from what I've sort of heard rumors wise and stuff, again, spoilers if anybody doesn't want to hear it, then stop listening now. What'll happen is John and I think there's like 11 others or 12 others go out with the brother. You know, it's got Thoros and Mir and Dundarian, etc. They go across to I don't know why they're there. There's something about capturing a white, but basically they're there to do something. Maybe to persuade Danny that, you know, these things exist and they want to capture one and kind of go, right, we'll bring one back, we'll show you this shit exists. And then what happens is they basically get overrun, or about to get overrun by whites, and Gendry is sent off to basically tell people, you know, that, you know, help. So he gets fired back, and then that's when Danny, who sort of by this time is super sort of like worried about Jon Snow, rocks up on one of the dragons and kicks some ass, but then it gets injured, and then what happens is, I think that's when the Night King sort of uses that, because it's an injured dragon, to sort of kind of to turn it, and I think Jon Snow has to sort of escape on on his horse on his own, and there's a whole thing, you know, the lone wolf dies but the pack survives or something like that. And there's this is again theories from what has been on the internet, something about how it ties in with one of Old Nan's tales, not in the series but in the books, about the 12 men going to fight in the long night, and Azor Ahai and his dog, and there's a dog, so obviously a wolf, and the wolf the dog dies, and all the companions die, and he gets away to sort of thing, and that could tie in with it, you know, with the story and stuff. Again, just theory, might not happen, but it seems to sort of kind of make a bit of sense. But yeah, we'll see. You know, Game of Thrones has a habit of just sort of kind of throwing curveballs in there. You're like, I fuck didn't see that shit, but
I just think it's good. I mean, there's certain characters obviously bringing Gendry back in, because Gendry could then be as he is a skilled blacksmith, he could be the person who then takes all the dragon glass and turns them into the Valyrian steel weapons. Yeah. So that's you know, a perfect idea for his character to kind of come back in, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities it can happen. I'm looking forward to see where it goes. I am a bit sort of, you know, as it is quite condensed, it's like, come on, I want more. Especially because there's only 5 episodes in the last series.
And they're going to make them an hour and a half long each, I think. So,
well, I suppose that's good. That's good. Yeah, I suppose.
But it's going to be horrible when it ends, and it's going to be like, what the hell do I do with my life? You know,
Northern Ireland's going to take a hit. Holy shit!
Yeah, man, the economy's going to crash.
Between the economy taking a hit, and between every fucking male person in Northern Ireland, their Tinder profiles, it's like fucking extra on Game of Thrones. So it's like, what else are they going to write now?
Yeah, it's just like the fucking DUP might think the world's actually going to end. Oh my god, the economy's crashed. That's
well, apparently they're filming The Witcher. The Netflix are talking about filming The Witcher TV show here.
Oh,
so,
okay,
yeah, there you go. You're sorted.
Okay, right, gents. We've been bantering on for a long time now. Though I was pissing around at the start, so it might be not as long as I expected. But I think we're going to end it there. So yeah, apologies if you've talked and we haven't got back to you, because the talking thing was broken. And but yeah, thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Hopefully we'll have another one on next week. Again, by all means, join us. This episode should be on this coming weekend for anybody on iTunes, Google Play, and on YouTube. But for the time being, I have been Matt Geary.
I have been John Joe, and hopefully I'll watch the rest of this Game of Thrones episode soon.
And I've been David Foy.
Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate that. Good night.